Is that your concluding thought? We'll see.
We'll see.
Like any good analyst.
That's right. That's right.
Buyer beware.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I love.
Hello and welcome to episode 296 of the Rockstar CMO effing marketing podcast, a proud member of the Marketing Podcast Network. Hope you're well and staying as sane as you feel you need to be. I'm your host, Ian Truscott. I'm not a rock star, but I am a CMO, and on this podcast I chat with a band of marketing chums who share their marketing street knowledge, which I hope will bring out the rockstar marketer in you. 'Twas the night before Thanksgiving, so it's time for my Canadian chum Cathy McKnight, chief problem solver at 7th Bear, to make her monthly visit to the studio. And this week we chat about Adobe's acquisition of Semrush and some new content Cathy has been working on. But first, we need to pay the bar tab. I'll be back in a moment.
We'll be right back after this word.
We'll be right back.
After this word.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Hennika Watkis-Porter hosts The Entrepreneurial You, empowering entrepreneurs with insights on leadership, business, and success. Hennika, tell listeners what to expect from your show.
So we provide innovative business strategies and practical solutions to common entrepreneurial challenges.
And where can people subscribe?
Find us at hennikawatkisporter.com, as well as the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net, or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe.
In Walmart's Hoonuville, everyone ready their cart. Amazing Black Friday deals are about to start. Online and in the app, such great deals to explore. Everything you love from tech, toys, and more. The days to save and the ones to remember. It's only the 25th to the 30th of November. Set your alarms. Don't miss out. These deals are epic, without a doubt. The Who's are all ready, but are you? Walmart Black Friday deals await. Who knew?
Welcome back, Cathy, to Rockstar CMO FM. How are you?
I'm well, Ian. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, you're very welcome. Anytime. Anytime. How
are things across the pond?
They are fine. And I understand that what I expected to be extremely chilly Toronto is actually slightly less chilly than it is here. How's the weather?
Yes, we're sitting at a very moderate temperature today. That's not to discount that we've already had about 5 inches of snow. The first three or four of which stayed for more than a week. So this is just the slight tease before the, can I say, shit hits the fan?
Oh, you can certainly say that on the effing marketing podcast. I have to mark it as explicit every single episode, mainly because of me.
So I am taking advantage of the U.S. holiday distraction because my inbox is pretty quiet, and the warmer weather this week to get Christmas lights up and to finish up the gardening and get ready for the snow.
Nice. Are you big on decorating the house on the outside with the Christmas lights and stuff?
I wouldn't say big, tasteful, but representative. We bailed on it last year. It was one of those things. There was a lot going on, and so it was literally, we had something on our front porch, and I threw some twinkle lights into I do a big Christmas display, like urn with ferns and not ferns, but evergreens and whatnot, and threw twinkle lights, and that was the extent of our lights last year. So I kind of feel like I need to up my game because our street people are very serious about it, and I felt like I got some shade last year. So we'll include pics next time.
I love it. Yeah, no, we for the last it'll be 25 years of our Christmas doesn't start until the 15th of December because my daughter's birthday is on the 14th. So we don't put any decorations up. We don't do anything like that. So there's all this debate in the UK at the moment about when it's too soon to start with the Christmas, and we've got this hard stop.
Our house very much at December 1st. So I'm taking advantage to get the lights up outside so that I'm not doing it in the freezing cold, which is one of the reasons why it didn't happen last year, because the cold hit and never went away. But they will not be turned on until December 1st.
Nice. And you're enjoying Thanksgiving like the rest of us because it's quiet from the Americans and not eating turkey.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. All
Happy
right.
Thanksgiving to all those who are American.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so. Well, the change of gears, really. I suppose I'm going to talk to you as usual, as it's our Cathy on content section. We'll start off with one of the biggest players in the digital experience space, which I know is an expression you love. Adobe, who are acquiring Semrush, and I thought I'd ask you about that. And also when I was looking at the PR and the press and talk about it, a lot of it is about GEO. I mean, we know Semrush from I don't know how long they've been around forever, right?
Yeah, we've been using them. Robert and I use them all the time. I love them. I love that
yeah,
tool.
yeah. And I actually got to meet some of them once over in the Netherlands when I was working for a different vendor, and I agree with you, really good tool. And I was quite surprised to see that Adobe and them were going to hook up because again, it's a bit like when Acquia acquired Wyden in the DAM space. It's like these two things don't seem to go together as cultures. So I think that's quite interesting. But it seemed that most of the talk was about GEO, and so it's all about AI these days. And I just wonder what you thought.
Yeah, so I love this. I think the Adobe was really smart on this acquisition,
Mm-hmm.
and for the what was it, $1.8 bajillion that they are acquiring it for. So
Uh-huh.
good on Semrush for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this from a perspective of this really ups Adobe's data set and analytics layer,
Mm-hmm.
which is something they've struggled with. Adobe Analytics have been around for a long time. And if you're an Adobe client, then great. But if you've got, like most organizations, your data spread across a bunch of things, not so great, right? So I think this gives them, it ups that layer for them quickly. They don't have to
Mm-hmm.
build it. And for customers, this is better, earlier insights into their brand. It absolutely gets them a step closer from a GEO, generative
Mm.
engine optimization, which everybody's a buzz about these days. And I think also for it really improves their end-to-end content and marketing life cycle, right?
Mm.
From creation through to discovery and optimization. More platform access, scalable, that kind of thing. So I
Mm.
think from those perspective, it's a really smart move in and looking and forward focused move, I'd say.
Mhm. And I know you're close to these guys, and you probably know more about the culture of Adobe than I do. My concern here is, based on their previous acquisitions, is that the acquisition tends to sort of disappear, as a service on its own, right? Whereas, as you say, most of us know SEMrush and work independently with SEMrush. What is Adobe SEMrush going to be? Is it going to? I mean, is it going to go the way of their analytics tool way back in the day, or any of those other things, or do you think it's actually going to be something that they maintain and we keep?
I'm hoping it's the latter. This is where so many acquisitions stumble. It's
Mm,
the bringing the culture and the product together from both
mm,
sides, right? So, will SEMrush stay a standalone product? Um, TBD, right? Is it
mhm,
going to be another part of the suite solution, very
mhm,
specifically? I hope so. I hope they don't try and um, merge it into something. I hope it is adjacent so that it
mm.
works as its own. You don't have to have the other bits and pieces or
Yeah.
buy the other bits and pieces because, again, that's something that. And this, if anybody from Adobe is listening, this won't be news to them that I say is it's one of the challenges that customers have with them, right? Is because
Mm,
they talk about this integration, they talk about playing nicely in the sandbox, but they really don't. Like it's and that's they do on some fronts very well,
mhm,
and on other fronts they don't. And whether that is an intentional go-to-market strategy, which guides people into the Adobe suite of things,
mhm.
or whether that's just a matter of getting out there and what to focus on. There's so many things, right? I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's a business decision, but it'll be interesting. I mean, it's $1.9 billion is a big
Wow.
investment. So Adobe's expectations are going to be high. This isn't just like, let's sort of
Yeah.
fold this in and see what happens. They've got to have a plan for getting this
Yeah, I
out there
wonder if
and working for them.
yeah, because as you're talking there, there are different Adobes, aren't there? There's the enterprise Adobe and the DXP and all that kind of good stuff, and that's a certain customer experience some people have of Adobe, and then you've got the Adobe suite, which we were talking about because you went to Adobe Max, right? The creative stuff, and then you've got some of the freemium and close to freemium stuff about Adobe Express and their podcasting tools and stuff. So there's a real wide range, isn't there, of where Semrush might fall in terms of those commercial models.
Yes, and I'm hoping that it will benefit both. One of the things that Adobe has uniquely going for them right now is they are really the only vendor in our space that can offer a solution from ideation through to archive and all the pieces, right? Every little bit and piece. Now, I don't know a single company that all they have is Adobe, right? There's
That's
always something else, but they are unique in that position. I don't think that'll stick around forever. I think that's going to change. People will figure that out, and whether it's through acquisition, whether it's through formal partnerships, etc., that will change. But it is a unique position, so this just adds more to that offering from that perspective. And I'm hoping that they integrate and make it available so that it's not, you don't have to be an enterprise client, right? Like you can, they're going to work this into things like Workfront so that it can be part of the creative process.
Yeah, that was exactly the question I was going to ask you, actually. Knowing both these companies quite well, and that both these and their suite quite well, where do you see is there a big overlapping use case where you can see, I can see where this will turn into this, or do you think that Semrush will become, like they've got the enterprise stuff, they've got the creative stuff, will Semrush somehow be another division which is going to be about analysis and understanding, or do you think it's going to plug right in?
I think it's going to plug in. I think they're going to look to leverage it from to provide a deeper visibility into the intelligence elements that they already have. I don't see this as a standalone, separate, now a third, plus kind of thing. So I don't know. I again, haven't spoken with Adobe on it, and it's still it's not formalized, right? So we don't get the inside track on it. But I think it's good. I think it helps with the data fabric that everybody's so looking to weave neatly and smoothly and whatnot. It'll help in terms of some readiness and operational gaps currently. And people are going to be watching.
Yeah, and I can also imagine that they've probably got a massive data set of content insight that would be invaluable in the enterprise content operations where you play, right? If you can tie those things together, which is, nowadays we're using AI a lot more to inform our content production. Well, what better learning platform than that knows what are the keywords and what are the things, what's the behavior people are doing around their web stuff. So could be cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Is that your concluding thought? We'll see.
We'll see.
Like any good analyst.
That's right.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I love the concept of this. I love the potential of this.
Yes.
And it's all about how it shakes out.
Yep. And it's good to be able to talk about some news in our little content, in your content management and strategy space. Yes. So anyway, now we'll talk about you. So we're going to move on to an article that you've just published on your brand new shiny Seventh Bear website, which Robert has been cock-a-hoop about in our bar conversations every Saturday, because he was telling me that he'd been meaning to fix it up. And then finally, the new version is now public, and it gives you a platform on which to play. And what I just picked up on your last article, which is called "Practice versus Insanity." It's a matter of perspective, And I like the fact that you've made reference to the fact that you do something over and over again, expect a different result. Either that's good practice or you're insane. So, and you were talking about, and in that article, you were talking about how sending out the same content on different channels, thinking or hoping it meets the needs of all your customers equally, is unproductive. What say you, Cathy? Tell me about that.
So one of the things we find really interesting is, Robert and I have the privilege of working with amazing organizations. Some everybody would recognize the name. Some of them I'd
Mhm.
never heard of until we started working with them.
Yeah,
And all of them, the fact that they trust us to help them do business better
yeah,
through content and marketing is I love. And the discussions that we have, but I find it so interesting because they're all smart. Everybody we work with is smart, right? They know what they're
yeah,
doing.
yeah,
They know the right things to do, all of that. But yet, because of whether it's pressures, whether it's fear of failure, what I don't know what it is, whether it's path of least resistance, some of the stuff they do is head scratching. So
mhm,
they'll create one primary campaign piece like image or something, and then that's what they use everywhere with
yeah,
no
yeah.
variance, right?
Right.
And particularly in today's Gen AI environment, where creating brand controlled variants is way easier. And
Mhm.
there's tools out there that are not expensive. It's not like you have to invest in the Adobe suite to get those
Yeah.
kind of things. So it's there. It's right at their fingertips, yet they're not. And then
Yeah.
they're surprised that it didn't work. That's the funny thing, right? That's really weird. It didn't go as well as we thought it was going to go. Well, is it though?
I'll come on with your experience. And you give 4 pieces of advice in this article, and the first one is, you say that this experience excellence takes a village. Tell me about that.
So one of the things we are huge proponents of, and in all things, is collaboration.
Mhm.
You know, two is better than one, three is better than two in terms of input and insights, and what you take from them is up to you. But so often the content life cycle is segmented and siloed, where the subject matter experts on things like channel and asset type and messaging and segmentation and time, all of those things are brought in after the fact, because the
Ah,
business units, the brands, the products, the sales teams look often at marketing and content as a function, right? It's a cost
mhm,
center. It's something they have to do. Everybody who doesn't actually create content and good content thinks content is easy. Well, why does
mhm.
it take you 3 days to write an email? Well, because you've got to do some research, and then you've got
Mm,
to write it, and then you've got to make sure it's brand aligned and it's in the right voice and that it aligns with
mhm.
the part of the journey that you're targeting and the audience segment, and it goes through review. And it's not a matter of sitting down 20 minutes later you have this killer
Yeah.
engaging email campaign, right? So they don't appreciate the expertise that
Mhm,
this part of the business brings. Just as many outside of even within marketing don't necessarily appreciate the
mhm.
what creative professionals bring.
Right.
So by bringing those facets in earlier,
Yeah.
and starting, we always have them start, we recommend you always start with the audience. Who is it that you want to reach? What
Mhm,
problem are you solving for them? So
mhm.
what's their need? Again, outside in,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And how does it align with your business objectives? And then what are your metrics of success? So don't ask for a video, don't ask for X.
No.
Let's start there. And
Yeah.
by bringing the people in who can contribute to that conversation at the outset,
Yeah.
you get so much better. But it's this tossing over the walls. It goes back to another post that I wrote about how processes is creating this world of mediocrity,
Mhm,
because it's ticking the boxes and throwing it over the wall to the next group, rather than
mhm.
looking up and downstream to see what could be better and how more collaboration would make the output so much better.
Right. So the key piece of advice there is, I mean, this is always the challenge for any marketing team, is come and ask me for an outcome. Don't ask me for a video or that we need to be on tick face or the logo needs to be bigger, right? What is it you're trying to achieve?
What's
And then
success? Yeah.
yeah, what does success look like? And it needs a team to put that together. And then I like your next point as well, because you talk about data fiefdom. So I presume that's the similar thing, isn't it? This is about bringing people together, not just bringing data together, not just your people.
Exactly. And again, one of the things I iterate often, the degree of offenness depends on the team that we're working with, is the data isn't yours. It doesn't belong to sales. It doesn't belong to marketing. It doesn't belong to the customer support team. It belongs to the company you all work for, right?
Yeah.
Everybody works for the same org, and you're all working towards the same end to make that company as successful as possible. So
Yeah.
opening up the data layers, and I'm not suggesting that, people can go into the data lake and start messing with the original data, but give them a subset. Let them look
Mhm.
at it. Let them dig to it. Have standard dashboards and reports for the different core groups that need data, like, and truly need it, so that
Yeah.
it's accessible to them and they can dig into it. It's on demand. They don't have to ask anybody for it. But the number of organizations where we talk about data enablement, they're like, oh, yeah, that would be awesome, but it takes me 2 weeks to get a report from the BI team. And it's too late because everybody's coming to us at the last minute to ask for something that we need to do, which we need the data for, but we don't have 2 weeks to wait to do the thing to get the data to make it right.
Yeah, and that also extends to your next point about permeable data silos. I think we've been talking about that for 2 decades, haven't we? As everybody's talking about busting the silos, but you can't bust the silos. The silos are human nature and the nature of our businesses, right? So explain what you mean by permeable.
So again, this goes back to way back to my days as an SAP
Hmm.
consultant and writing code for SAP and building those systems. Was You can't build an ERP like SAP thinking only about your silo and your function.
Hmm.
The information, that's the whole point of an ERP, right? Is to have the
Hmm.
right information flow easily in real time across the organization so the best decisions can be made. So from 20 years ago, I've been an advocate, more than that, an advocate for making information available. And so in making it permeable, I'm not suggesting for a second that you get rid of silos. We are territorial. We need
Hmm.
boundaries. That's just
Yeah.
the nature of human beings. And
Yeah.
we've worked with organizations that are basically flat, and it is chaos. Now that might be my A type
Yeah.
OCDness coming through, but it
Yeah.
is. So I'm all about parameters, right? It makes things
Mm.
work better. It gives structure. It's comfortable. All of those things. So
Mhm.
don't break them down, but make it permeable. Make it so that information, whether it's data, whether it's knowledge, whether it's expertise, whether it's process, make it
Mm.
so it flows through the organization.
Yeah. I
I'm
love
not
that.
suggesting we open up the HRIS system or the
No.
finance system, but you know,
Yeah.
customer data, that's important
Yeah.
to everybody.
Yeah, and I like your point as well, you when you're talking about data fiefdoms, because one of the things that I'm kind of thinking about in marketing is sometimes I think we spend a lot of time on attribution and credit and all that kind of stuff, and trying to do. And I think at a certain point that work no longer serves the company anymore. You're just serving marketing or somebody in marketing or sales to prove a point, right? It's not actually good for the company that you've got your members of your team faffing about with data reports and everything, so they can demonstrate their own, reason for being. So I think there's a like you say with that data fiefdom thing, having it all open and available, absolutely. But let's not spend too much time on that stuff if it's not to the service of the company. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then I think that and then your point about, the systems drives nicely to your last point, which is that internal systems shouldn't drive the customer experience. It should be the other way around, which actually made me chuckle as I read it, because so many times and I know that you're talking about internal systems and the content operation side of things, but I think it's so many times in marketing, our marketing automation solutions, our reporting solutions drive what we do, and it sounds like it's the same in customer experience.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, understanding how the data can be leveraged,
Yeah.
right? So who could this be helpful for?
Yeah.
And I always encourage people to ask the questions, why shouldn't this be shared or made available versus
Mm.
why should it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the answer to the first question is far less often, and you're starting in an open space, right? You're starting in a mindset of transparency
Mhm.
and equal access, as opposed to, you know, the fiefdoms. This is mine. This is mine. This is mine. And
Mhm.
not to, but I will not to diss the sales teams, but sales teams traditionally have been the most challenging and
Mhm.
resistant to this, because a lot of sales individuals feel that what they do and how they do it and the information they capture is their secret sauce, so they don't want to share that,
That's true.
right?
That's
But
true. Yeah.
they don't. What they might not understand is that the conversations that they have, what they're saying, is so important in terms of data to be able to make accessible. So like all sales conversations should be recorded so that
Mhm.
they can be analyzed for keywords and
Yeah.
reactions and that kind of things, because you that is such a rich
Yeah.
set of information that is available to nobody except for those two people on the phone call. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, right? So all sales calls should be recorded and analyzed
Yeah.
for, what are the words and what are the triggers and commonalities, and not only to get that insight, but to be able to enable the other sales individuals,
Mhm.
as well as the lexicon that is used within the organization to attract and engage audiences, is
Mhm.
aligned.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and yeah, I do want to get to a final point. There's other stuff you're working on the site, but I've been I recently was on a podcast talking about sales methodologies, and I was astonished, and obviously I was representing marketing, and I was astonished by the fact that how much time in my career I've spent not knowing what the sales methodology is. We have our marketing and our sales, and the two things, are completely separate. But the more you learn about these things, the more you realize that if there was better collaboration between the two, marketing can build into that. And I think that's the same as what you're saying here, isn't it? Is that these internal silos are part of the problem. Yeah. Anyway, we won't diss sales, and I also think some of it is a comp plan problem, because uniquely sales get individually rewarded, whereas the rest of us don't, right? So, that's what
Oh,
makes them so
that's a
protective.
big issue until there
Yeah,
is a shared
yeah,
element of comp that is
yeah,
based on things like customer satisfaction
yeah,
and engagement in terms of solutions adoption.
yeah.
Then it's very hard to get that change.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so that's your latest article on Seventh Bear, and it's called Practice versus Insanity. It's a matter of perspective, and I'll link to it in the show notes. So we move on, and we're still not going too far because we're staying on Seventh Bear. But what I picked up on the fact that it seems that you've got a new feature format called Bear Essentials, where you're going to do some quick takes by the looks of things. Tell us about that.
Yes. So Robert and I are always, we did our brand change at the beginning of the year, and
Hmm.
everybody asks what's Seventh Bear about, and we're leaning into, collectively between us we have more than 50 years of experience. So
No,
been there, done
he's
that,
got
seen
most of
it.
that, though. He's got about 40
He
years,
does.
right?
He's
And you've
way
got about
older than I am.
50.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. Um, and so we've been there, we've done that, we've seen it
Mhm,
again, we see it in a
mhm,
still. So there's a
mm,
wisdom and a knowledge and expertise that just comes with having done what we do for so long, and we do it because
mhm,
we love it. So
mm,
we're staying up on what's new, what's changing. So it's not a matter of, we've always done it this way and this is the way we've got to do it. We've changed, but there's a
yeah,
few things that we've seen persist. So
mm,
that was the nascence of Bare Essentials. I wanted to create something that are pretty consistent, right? Is what
yeah,
are we seeing over and over? What are some common challenges that we see from our client base and the people we talk to when we're speaking at conferences and running workshops and whatnot? what are the questions? What are the, oh my God, this is happening and I can't, and the common things. So the essentials that people need to know.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. So, what we're hearing, so the perception.
Yeah.
So, whether it's feeling overwhelmed by not having enough content, whether it's a communication or a collaboration, that kind of thing. And then our take on it, right?
Yeah.
What the reality of the situation isn't X, what you're saying, it's actually this.
Mm-hmm.
And why it matters. What we see most commonly that teams get wrong, where they go astray, why they're not able to correct the wrong or the challenge, and some alternative things to think about as far as what to do instead.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, we love 5Fing things on this podcast anyway. So you've got their perception, reality, why it matters, what most teams get wrong, and what to do instead, which I think is splendid. So that's all on seventhbear.com. So I'll encourage, again, as I do seem to in every podcast episode, encourage people to go on to some other property other than any of my own.
Drive them away from your site. Yeah. Really good marketing.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I mean, you're still on a long hiatus from your podcast, so I can't even promote your podcast. So, which was fabulous.
Yeah, and that's gonna stay that way. I'm not sure what to do with it. So, anybody has some great ideas on Uncharted Journeys, go check it out. Unchartedjourneys.net. And if you've got some ideas on how that could evolve and what I could do next, I would love to hear from you.
Nice. Yes. That was a podcast that celebrated women's success, wasn't it? You interviewed successful women in the world. Well, I mean, there's a lot of that about successful women, so I'm sure there's plenty more. You can. All right. And when people want to connect with you, Cathy, where best to find you when they spin the dial on the interwebs?
LinkedIn, Cathy with a C McKnight. And I'm on Instagram. That's only personal, but feel free to follow. And seventhbear.com, of course.
Nice. And I'll see you again in a month or whenever it is that we run across each other. I think
Absolutely.
That's what we're Cathy. All right. I'll speak to you soon. Always
All
a
right,
pleasure.
thank you.
Cathy. Bye-bye. Thank you, Cathy. Always a pleasure to catch up with Cathy and sharing with you the work they're doing over at Seventh Bear. So that's a wrap on episode 299 of the Rockstar CMO Effing Marketing Podcast. Thank you for dropping a dime into your podcasting jukebox, selecting our track and jiving along with us. I've been your host, Ian Truscott, and you can find links to me, Cathy, our blog, newsletter, and all of our previous episodes in the show notes at rockstarcmo.com. Coming up for us here on Rockstar CMO FM, having enjoyed all the turkey and maybe a bit of football, Robert will be back in our virtual bar on Saturday, and Jeff will be back in the studio next Wednesday as we continue to celebrate prediction season. Speaking of celebrations, I hope you American chums have a splendid holiday, and for the rest of us, have a happy Thursday.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Robbie Samuels hosts the On the Schmooze podcast. Robbie, tell listeners what to expect from the show.
Since 2015, I've interviewed entrepreneurs who overcame challenges to achieve success in their field or industry. Tune in to On the Schmooze to listen as I ask deep questions to elicit untold stories about leadership and networking.
And where can people subscribe?
Find the show at ontheschmooze.com or on marketingpodcast.net, or just search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard them. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.